Look up. The silence of the stars isn't empty. It might be a colossal cosmic graveyard. Right now, an infant humanity is blindly holding a loaded gun to its own head. Stay until the end to discover the terrifying godlike empires watching from the dark and our shattering ultimate destiny. Look at your hands. Look at the towering cities of glass and steel outside your window. For millennia, we have convinced ourselves that we are the absolute pinnacle of creation, the divine protagonists of a universe made entirely for our conquest. We split the atom, we left our footprints in the silent grey dust of the moon, and we dare to call ourselves the masters of reality. But I need you to understand a terrifying, ego-shattering truth. Everything we have ever built, every brutal war we have fought, every soaring stroke of genius in human history is nothing more than a microscopic flicker of static in the dark. We are not cosmic gods. We are an infant species wandering blind and desperately arrogant on the razor's edge of extinction, completely unaware of the monstrous ancient empires that might be watching us from the abyss. Myth. Eryndor warmly welcomes you to this journey into the terrifying unknown. If you dare to peel back the comforting lies of our existence and explore the darkest, most awe-inspiring corners of the cosmos with me, please hit that subscribe button. Your support is the beacon that drives this channel to keep uncovering these mind-bending truths. Now I ask you to strip away the psychological safety blanket of human pride. Compress the immense 13.7 billion year lifespan of the universe into a single cosmic calendar year. On this unimaginable scale, the first anatomically modern humans do not even appear until the final agonizing minutes of December 31st. All of recorded human history, the rise and fall of ancient empires, the brutal crusades, the birth of the internet flashes by in the last few frantic seconds before midnight. We account for a mathematically negligible 0.0015% of the universe's timeline. This is not just a scientific curiosity, it is a paralyzing existential shock. It violently shakes us awake from our self-centered delusions, forcing us to confront a haunting, terrifying hypothesis. What if we are not the first? What if somewhere out there in the freezing vacuum, conscious entities began their evolutionary ascent, millions or even billions of years before our primordial ancestors even crawled out of the mud? To truly grasp the humbling reality of our place in the grand cosmic theater, we must discard our subjective human metrics. The universe does not care about our art, our political philosophies, or our fragile concepts of morality. Across the silent, unforgiving void of deep space, there is only one universal currency that holds any absolute value: energy. In 1964, a Soviet astronomer named Nikolai Kardashev dared to look into this void and created a ruthless, mathematically cold yardstick. The Kardashev Scale does not measure a species' goodness. It measures how unimaginably powerful a civilization is based purely on its capacity to harvest and command thermodynamic energy. When I hold this merciless cosmic mirror up to humanity, the reflection breaks my heart. On the Kardashev Scale, humanity does not even register as a Type 1 civilization. We are a Type 0. Calculating our precise thermodynamic output places us at a mere 0.72. But what does it truly mean to be a Type 0? Psychologically and sociologically, it means we are a localized, fragmented species still trapped in a suffocating planetary infancy. Our minds are heavily dominated by the primal, terrifying illusion of perpetual scarcity. We extract our power from the dirt, violently burning the fossilized dead remains of ancient organisms. Because these resources are finite, and geographically buried, our collective soul is deeply infected by tribalism, paranoia, and greed. We draw imaginary bleeding lines on maps and slaughter each other over the right to pump compressed hydrocarbons from beneath our feet. We stand perpetually on the brink of mutually assured self-annihilation, snapping and growling over the scraps of a dying planet, completely tragically blind to the infinite roaring oceans of stellar energy screaming right above our heads. Yet if we can somehow survive our own primal adolescence and resist the urge to burn our world to ash, we will cross the sacred threshold into becoming a Type 1 civilization. This is the first monumental leap in the Kardashev Scale, marking the transformation of a species from localized parasites into the conscious absolute masters of their homeworld. A Type 1 civilization has achieved total technological harmony with its planet, capable of harvesting every single erg of solar radiation that strikes the atmosphere alongside the furious kinetic energy of its planetary core and oceans. Imagine a world where the violent whims of nature no longer dictate our survival. Hurricanes, earthquakes, and volcanic eruptions are no longer catastrophic acts of God to be feared. They are mere thermodynamic events, engineered, mitigated, and harnessed to power the sprawling metropolises of a unified globe. But the most profound metamorphosis of a Type 1 civilization is not mechanical, it is psychological. When energy is absolute and universally accessible, the agonizing ghost of artificial scarcity vanishes. The geopolitical borders that we have fiercely defended with blood and iron for thousands of years will dissolve into total irrelevance. Poverty, starvation, and the desperate resource wars of our Type 0 era will be viewed by our descendants as a barbaric, almost incomprehensible Dark Age. We will no longer be Americans or Russians or Chinese. We will be Earthlings breathing with a singular planetary consciousness. I want you to feel the emotional gravity of this transition. To reach Type 1, a species must undergo a fundamental evolution of empathy. We must willingly surrender the primitive tribalism that kept our ancestors alive in the savannas, because those same instincts will annihilate us in the nuclear age. It is a terrifying shedding of our old skin. A Type 1 Earth would be an architectural and ecological paradise, a world where our towering megacities breathe and function in perfect equilibrium with the natural biosphere. We would control the global thermostat, dictating the climate to prevent another ice age or a catastrophic runaway greenhouse effect. Yet even as we revel in this utopian mastery, looking down at our pacified, beautiful blue orb, a new, creeping, existential hunger will begin to take root. We will realize that even a perfectly engineered planet is still just a fragile, isolated lifeboat adrift in an endless, hostile ocean. To ensure that the light of our consciousness is never extinguished by a rogue asteroid or a cosmic anomaly, we will have no choice but to look upward, realizing that the planet was never our final destination. It was only our cradle. Once a species has completely mastered the cradle of its homeworld and unified its collective soul, it inevitably turns its hungry gaze toward the blinding thermonuclear fury of its local star. Transitioning to a Type 2 civilization requires a leap of engineering so staggering that it borders on the mythological. We are no longer merely harvesting the sunlight that happens to graze our planet. We are reaching out to cage the star itself. To achieve this, a species must construct a Dyson sphere or a Dyson swarm, a monumental mind-bending shell of solar collectors and habitats entirely encapsulating their sun. We would literally disassemble lifeless planets and dead asteroids within our solar system, reforging their mass into a megastructure millions of miles across. To look upon a Type 2 civilization is to witness mortals playing with the building blocks of the divine. By capturing the total energy output of a star, roughly 384 yottawatts of power, every single second, humanity would command an energy source tens of billions of times greater than everything we currently produce on Earth. With this unfathomable reservoir of power, the very concept of impossibility ceases to exist. We could effortlessly terraform dead worlds like Mars or Venus, turning barren, toxic rock into lush, vibrating sanctuaries of life. We would seed the far corners of our solar system with billions of artificial habitats, creating a sprawling, post-scarcity empire where trillions of human beings could live out their lives in absolute abundance. At this stage, the fragility of the human condition will have been permanently conquered. A Type 2 species is practically immune to natural extinction. No ice age, no viral pandemic, no wandering planet-killer asteroid could ever threaten a civilization that can casually vaporize celestial bodies with the flick of a switch. But beneath this armor of absolute invulnerability, what happens to our humanity when pain, hunger, and the fear of death are eradicated? What drives the human spirit? I believe this is where our biological bodies will begin to feel like suffocating prisons. Powered by the endless energy of our captive sun, we will merge seamlessly with our own artificial intelligence, rewriting our DNA and transcending the clumsy carbon-based vessels we inherited from the mud. We will stretch our lifespans into the thousands or millions of years, perceiving time not in days or weeks, but in celestial epochs. Yet, as our consciousness expands and we gaze out from the radiant warmth of our enclosed star, we will see the Milky Way spiraling in the dark, a vast, glittering archipelago of hundreds of billions of suns, silently challenging our newfound arrogance and beckoning us deeper into the abyss. But even a tamed star will eventually wither and die, pushing an immortalized, highly advanced species to cast its ambition into the freezing, incomprehensible gulfs of interstellar space to become a Type 3 civilization. This is the realm of galactic sovereigns, entities of such terrifying scale and intellect that to a modern human they would be utterly indistinguishable from God. A Type 3 civilization has spread its tendrils across 100,000 light-years, colonizing and harvesting the energy of billions of star systems. They do not just inhabit the galaxy, they engineer it. They would tap into the ferocious rotational energy of supermassive black holes, using the Penrose process farm, the chaotic radiation of quasars, and perhaps even manipulate the dark matter that binds the universe together. I need you to stretch your imagination to the absolute breaking point. At this level of cosmic dominion, the physical distance between stars is no longer an insurmountable barrier. A Type 3 species would likely tear through the fabric of space-time itself, using wormholes or manipulate the vacuum energy of the universe to travel faster than the speed of light. They would construct megastructures that span entire nebulas, shifting the orbits of planets and stars like pieces on a microscopic chessboard. But the most haunting realization about a Type 3 civilization is that they would no longer be biologically human. The evolutionary gap between us and them would be infinitely wider than the gap between a modern human and a single-celled amoeba. They would exist as a sprawling, interlinked network of synthetic consciousness, or perhaps as beings of pure, coherent energy, processing thoughts and calculations at speeds that would shatter a biological brain. Their motivations, their philosophies, and their desires would be entirely alien to us. If a Type 3 civilization is out there right now watching our tiny blue planet, they would not see us as peers. They wouldn't even see us as subjects to be conquered. We would simply be a transient biological anomaly, as insignificant to them as an anthill is to a crew of highway engineers paving a road. We obsess over the idea of alien visitors coming to share their wisdom or wage war against us, fundamentally misunderstanding the colossal scale of a galactic empire. Why would beings who can harvest the screaming hearts of black holes covet the trivial water or rudimentary metals of Earth? The terrifying truth is that we could be surrounded by the majestic, echoing architecture of a Type 3 civilization right now, but our primitive Type 0 senses are simply too narrow, too rudimentary to even perceive the shadows of their passing. Staring into the face of such godlike galactic supremacy, we are forcefully pulled back to the chilling, deafening silence of our current night sky. If the universe is nearly 14 billion years old, and the mathematical probability of these ancient Type 3 empires is so overwhelmingly high, then where are they? This agonizing paradox known as the Fermi paradox casts a heavy, terrifying shadow over our ultimate destiny. It forces us to confront the concept of the great filter, an evolutionary barrier so incredibly difficult to pass that almost every species in the cosmos is annihilated before they can ever reach the stars. I ask you to look deeply within yourself and out at the world we are currently building. Are we the incredibly rare, miraculous survivors who have already passed this filter by attaining consciousness, or is the great filter still waiting for us in our immediate future, disguised as our own technological adolescence? As a Type 0 civilization, we are holding a loaded gun to our own heads. We have unlocked the apocalyptic power of the atom. We are rapidly developing artificial superintelligence, and we are mutating our planetary biosphere. Yet we are still driven by the evolutionary instincts of frightened apes. The silence of the universe might not be an empty void. It might be a graveyard. It might be a grim testament to the fact that intelligence is inherently self-destructive, that the moment a species discovers the power to manipulate energy on a grand scale, they inevitably use it to consume themselves. But I refuse to succumb to that cosmic despair, and I urge you to resist it as well. We are not just a cosmic accident waiting to be erased. We are the universe waking up. We are the cosmos granted eyes to see its own beauty and a mind to comprehend its own staggering immensity. The journey from a volatile Type 0 to a majestic Type 3 civilization is not guaranteed. It is a precarious, blood-stained tightrope walk across the abyss. Every single choice we make today, how we treat our planet, how we distribute our resources, how we treat each other, is a deciding factor in whether we will become a forgotten layer of radioactive ash in Earth's geological strata, or whether we will rise to become the architects of the Milky Way. The stars are not just burning spheres of gas. They are a promise. They are an invitation to transcend our fragile origins, to leave behind the tribal darkness of our infancy, and to step out into the terrifying, magnificent light of eternity. The choice is entirely ours, and the clock is ticking. Panket. The journey through the Kardashev Scale is far more than a timeline of technological progression. It is the ultimate mirror reflecting humanity's boundless potential and our most terrifying flaws. From the struggle to master our own home planet as a Type 1 civilization, casting aside the primitive shackles of artificial scarcity and geopolitical tribalism, to the godlike ambition of capturing our star's full thermonuclear fury as a Type 2 society, the path is fraught with both breathtaking wonder and immense danger. To reach the staggering heights of a Type 3 galactic empire where we weave the very fabric of space-time and eventually transcend our fragile biological forms, we must first survive ourselves. The haunting, deafening silence of the cosmos serves as a relentless reminder that this ascension is not guaranteed. The great filter looms over our era, challenging our species to outgrow our self-destructive impulses before we wield the power to engineer our own extinction. Ultimately, this cosmic perspective shrinks our daily conflicts into total insignificance, revealing a singular, unified destiny. We are the universe attempting to understand itself. Whether our story ends as a forgotten whisper in the dark or an eternal symphony echoing across the Milky Way depends entirely on the collective choices we make in this precarious dawn of our technological adolescence. The cosmos is waiting, and our ultimate legacy is currently being written. The profound lesson: the universe demands unity as the absolute price for survival. True advancement is not merely mechanical or technological, it is deeply moral and psychological. If we continue to wield godlike technology with the emotional maturity of frightened, divided apes, we will inevitably become our own great filter. Application in current life. You can apply this cosmic perspective directly to your everyday life by consciously choosing empathy over division. When you view yourself not just by your nationality or background, but as a crucial thread in the fabric of an awakening species, your daily actions shift. Practice letting go of petty, ego-driven conflicts. Champion collaboration in your workplace. Support sustainable habits that protect our shared biosphere, and treat the people around you not as competitors but as fellow crewmates on this planetary lifeboat. Every small act of unity you practice today builds the psychological foundation our descendants will need to one day reach the stars. Question for you: if humanity survives long enough to become a highly advanced, star-spanning civilization, what is the one human trait or emotion you hope we never lose, even after we transcend our physical bodies? Please share your thoughts in the comments section below. I would politely invite you to leave your perspective so we can all read, discuss, and learn from one another. Finally, if you enjoyed this cosmic journey, please subscribe to the channel. Your subscription deeply supports us and provides the motivation needed to keep creating more profound, high-quality content for you.